If you were asked to picture the most successful pirate of all time, who would you imagine? Perhaps Long John Silver, complete with a perching parrot? Or a swashbuckling Blackbeard? Think again. Zheng Yi Sao, a former sex worker turned pirate queen who terrorized the South China Sea in the 19th century, blows them both out of the water. Born around 1775 as Zheng in the Chinese coastal region of Guangdong, she grew up at a time of civil unrest and wealth inequality. Keen for a side hustle during tough times, many poorer families in Guangdong made the most of coastal living and turned to illicit smuggling, or what we might call part-time piracy. In 1801, Zheng was making a living as a sex worker on a floating brothel, where she floated the boats of many wealthy clients. Showing real entrepreneurial spirit, she started to trade her loaded but loose-lipped clients' secrets to gain more cash and influence. Later that year, Zheng married a famous pirate called Zheng Yi. This is when she became known as Zheng Yi Sao, meaning the wife of Zheng, and they turned into quite the power couple. Remember all those part-time plunderers floating around? Well, Zheng Yi Sao and her hubby took charge and created a unified pirate confederation with about 70,000 men under them. Hashtag couple goals. They also took on an apprentice who they adopted as their son by the name of Zheng Yi. In 1807, her husband died and Zheng Yi Sao took charge, flying, or should we say sailing, solo. To grow her power base, Zheng Yi Sao secured the support of Zheng Yi's two leading chieftains and chose her adopted son to head up her husband's old squadron. To secure his loyalty further, Zheng Yi Sao married Zheng Yi, then in his 20s. Gulp. Next, Zheng Yi Sao came up with a range of ways to keep her huge pirate posse in order. She introduced a law code where men could be killed for cowardice, disobedience, or for stealing more than their share of the loot. They could also have their ears sliced off for unauthorized absences. Zheng Yi Sao then turned her spyglass to Guangdong's lucrative salt trade. Her pirates launched attacks on salt fleets, which were so successful that at one point, only 4 of the government's 270 salt ships remained outside her control. To rub salt into the wounds, she introduced a passport system, which meant salt merchants had to buy safe passage from the pirates. Soon this extended to all types of merchant and fishing vessels. She even set up tax offices to collect fees. Who knew piracy required so much paperwork? As the pirates relied on local villages for supplies, Zheng Yi Sao tried to keep them on side. So, if any pirates attacked a ship that had purchased a passport from Zheng Yi Sao, they were made to pay extensive compensation. And if anyone tried to stand in Zheng Yi Sao's way, it didn't go well for them. They used jingles, musket-like weapons which were around 2.5 meters long and needed 3 people to operate them. They also intimidated ships by swimming towards them with long poles, tipped with razor-sharp machetes. By 1809, Zheng Yi Sao's military and economic dominance led the Chinese government to ask the British and Portuguese navies for help in tackling piracy. But after several sea battles, the pirates were undefeated. By 1810, however, Zheng Yi Sao and her crew were willing to cut a deal, retiring on pretty impressive pensions provided by the government. We don't know much about Zheng Yi Sao after that, except that after the death of Zheng Yi in 1822, she returned to Guangdong to raise their son. After a presumably luxury retirement, Zheng Yi Sao died at the age of 69. She has since inspired characters in Doctor Who and Pirates of the Caribbean, and remains the most powerful pirate in history.